All right, guys. Yeah, this is the pretty much the rest of what I need to go over to get you going good and strong. And there are videos for most of these anyway, so you can go look this stuff up if you want. I'm gonna start taking down videos we don't need anymore because of the new direction with MOWG with T2H. That really simplifies a whole lot of the stuff that we had from before. So I'm gonna be able to take a lot of things out now. So yeah, I'll keep up things that are useful and organize them slightly differently. So anyway, here we go. Let's just take a look at some of this stuff, okay? By the way, I'm going to include this backer for guys who want to use it. It's just sort of a backer. I'm going to go ahead and put it in. So it gives you a choice of backer as well, so you can understand more of these, how to use them, how to import them and put them up. So anyway, that'll just come along with this whole thing here. Remember, and there's your note, be sure to update the var2 and var3 numbers to the right columns, the ones that are correct for what you're doing, the columns for your current project. Okay, so standard project runs. Here's how you would do that. This is it. Just copy paste this in where it fits at the bottom of the file, right? Like we were doing. And if you're doing it as a subdomain, this is the appropriate way to do that. Okay. Okay. So you can do either one. All right. That's pretty easy. So having said that, let me go ahead and bust that down, set that to the side, and talk about the rest of what we have here. We have our base and our vars and our unique vars. Now, I want to be able to put these up somewhere. So let's say that I wanted to put this run I was going to create up on, well, whatever site. Okay, we know what we want to do right now is this. We have this website set up. This is where we're doing our work. So I would want to put this run on this website, right? That's where it needs to go. It needs to go here. Okay. So this is where that needs to go. Having said that, how do we do it? All right, let me show you. There's a couple of ways actually, and the simplest possible way is like this. Okay. Well, there's two. There's just two ways of doing it. Let me just point them out. Okay, I'm going to bring this in and bring this in because we haven't built this up yet. Okay. And I'm going to start doing this correctly. Find dash locally, locally.com. And this is for Atlanta plumbers. Atlanta plumbers. Okay. Atlanta plumber. I could even call it something else if I want. I could call it like best Atlanta plumber, right? That's fine. But I'm going to assume that's a keyword maybe. I'm just going to call it Atlanta plumber. Why not? Okay, and now I have my Atlanta plumber guy. Then I'm going to go create another website for another guy, another website for another guy. If I really want this to be a stronger run, I won't do it like this. Control X, right? Because subdomains are stronger. They rank harder on Google. I like subdomains like that. Atlanta-plumber.find-locally.com. Okay? And so you can do either one because they're the same. Now, when you upload to FTP, either you guys already know how to upload or you need to learn it. On HostMonster, the rules are pretty simple. And do you know what? I'm going to leave those videos up that teach this stuff in depth. There are a few that do. It will be clear on the list, so I don't have to do them all over again. I can't, because there are so many combinations that it takes a little while to get you through them all. But here we go. Let's say you were doing this on our recommended hosting, right? Which is, okay, if you don't know, if you come here, and we recommend this because it's better than HostGator. HostGator throttled uploads, and you'd wind up with broken links, and so people got out of the HostGator environment. That's because you're putting runs on subdomains of or on subpartitions of subpartitions, and that's really not the best way to go at all. And so we really got into using HostMonster. We did 5.5 years ago, and we still do. Here's the hosting here. This is the recommendation that we have for you. Okay, this is our affiliate link. You're helping support us if you get your HostMonster account from here. Okay, just click and then click. If you need a domain name, it'll come up free. Okay, so click. There you go. And if you need a domain name, put something in. It'll let you know if you can get it and you can go forward. If you already have a domain name, put it here and take it forward, right? And there you go. So those are the choices, and we recommend that highly. Now, having said that, you can put runs anywhere. You just have to understand what your FTP paths are. They're not the same for every hosting provider. Okay, that's what I mean. So you may have to actually ask your live support how their paths work so that you can understand them. Okay, Here we go. So I know how the path works for this. This is a subdomain going to this domain, so it's find-locally.com/ and this is the root directory. Okay. And then I, of course, want to match these 100%. I want this to match that because it's a good idea. And I enter my username and my password. Wonder if I can do that right now. Yeah, I can do that right now. I found it. Okay, so I would enter my username, enter my password. Now we have an encrypt password feature. If you use that, it does one thing you like and one thing you dislike. Encrypting means if I send the profiles I saved to somebody else with MOWG Pro, they can load it in their MOWG and work with it. So if you sent them this folder with this stuff, right, the HTML, the vars, any images that you were going to include in your run or something, but you don't need to because that's already on the website. We're going to put this stuff on. And you sent them the profile when you do save it, then they can load it up and take off with it. And so you can actually send your work to someone else to continue, which is excellent. It's the same thing as if you create a file in Excel and you save the file and you send the XLS file to somebody else, and then they can load it in their Excel, then they can continue working with it. You see, that's very cool, right? All right. Now, I might do a tester upload, so I may just do a small file count, but it's not going to matter because my menu overrides my my desire to limit this file count. All right, so if I were to say that real quick, it would be like this. Remember what we said. You might want to do a small file count, but really a lot of pages are going to come out of it. Let me point out why. Okay. Now, let me copy this so I can like open it, manipulate it, even though it's open in here, because I'm going to open the copy, the one that this one is not using. See, this is being set to use this, so I made a copy, which is therefore a different file. Now I can open the copy. All right, take a look. Okay, we have our menu column here, right? I split my keywords up so I didn't have 100 of these in one spot. But I do have 50 plus the root will actually throw in like maybe another 10 folders. Okay, it's kind of a fuzzy logic thing. Don't worry about it. But it means this. It means like 50, 49 folders here plus, a handful more here. So it's going to be like 60. So you have to have an index page in here, index page in here, index page in here, for all of these, right? And actually, when it creates these, there are 4 main files it must create in every case. Index.html and a backup, an index2.html, which is really just a copy of the front line information, the original information, okay? And there's a purpose for that. Sometimes you need the good copy to go up somewhere and you want to use that index2.html. Well, that backup is all over the place. So you can use any one of those. Okay, for like your main page or something, you can move it to the index, rename it to index, something like that. Okay, having said that, everything in and a sitemap.html and a sitemap.txt file are all going to get created. So there will be 4 files plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, right? So there's 50 of those. That's 200, whether you like it or not. You're going to get 200 files, whether you like it or not, plus some more. There's going to be some here. Okay, and those actually won't get sitemaps, will just get index.html and index2.html. So if you have like 10 more of those, it's like 20 more, really, files. So that would be like 50 plus 20 is 70. So you're going to get 70 anyway, is kind of the idea. And because of that fuzzy logic, it could be a little smaller or larger. And the only way that you could deal with that would be if you had fewer items in the menu. Now, you don't want to just chop them off, right? You don't want to just delete them and roll them up at this point. Why? Because you see these links here? If you're going to do it here, you'd better do it here, okay? You got to find the first one, wherever it was, like how to become a plumber. Here it is. So if I'm going to chop from here down, I've got to chop from here down, and because it's going back and forth the whole way, I've got to also chop from here down. You get it? Because otherwise, you're going to have links to folders over here on your web pages that are going to be broken because we wouldn't have created those folders and put pages in them. You see? So at this point, if I want to break something off here, I've got to break off that equivalent here, starting with wherever it was, right there. So that would mean break that and that and that and that and that and that and that. So that means all of this and these, right? Just in separate steps, drop them. Okay. I want to drop them. I like them. I'm going to keep them up. So that's what I wanted to point out about that. So now what do we need? Let's go next. Because so far we filled everything out. Oh yeah, the cool thing about encrypting password is if I send this file to someone else and they want to open that file in Notepad, you can do it. You can open the PFLs in Notepad and manipulate them. If it's encrypted, then the guy cannot see that. All right. So if you don't encrypt it, it's visible on the Notepad view. If you do encrypt it, it is completely secured. Okay. Now, the thing that makes that a problem is if you're trying to use your own batch file to connect to FTP and it's trying to read this off the Notepad file, well, if it's encrypted, it's encrypted. So it will be reading the wrong password. Okay. Um, and so if you have it off, then you can use it for batch file automation. So if you're going to be doing a lot of deep batch file automation stuff, hopefully you're working with people you trust. Okay, here we go next. Now, what do I have to remember? I have to remember that menu goes first, so I may as well get it first. There it is, menu. Bring it. Put that slash. Okay. Now I'm free to do my conceptual URL breakdown. By the way, somebody said once, why is there any limit on this? There's a limit. You can only do 15 bars and then it stops. And somebody said, why? The answer is if you get more than 256 characters all added up, okay, because that'll happen, it'll start, here's some characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, blah, blah, blah. But don't count this, all right, because we're really doing it up here, okay? And we get to here and we continue. So say this is like 21, and then you got whatever's in there. So if that's like a 10-letter word, then that's 31. And then you keep adding words in. Well, you're going to reach a point where your URLs are so long that they'll break. There's a 256 character maximum to the URL length. I think it's 256 characters. And after that, it's a broken link. Okay, that's like too many folders and folders and folders with files and files and files. Well, whatever, a file at the end. But it's too many characters and it cannot be read. Even your hosting account can't read it. It's too long. And so it just simply will act like a broken link. So to avoid that, we keep this down. Now, you don't want to use too few or your files are going to keep overwriting each other, right? We talked about that before. All right, let me just throw a few in and make sure to get my ID in. It's just good practice. Find a way to get your ID in. It's not required, yeah, but it's just a good idea. Dash, dash, slash, dash, dash. Okay, it's good to have a bunch of dashes at the end because it means that your index page, well, I'm sorry, your HTML file, because this is the beginning of the file name, right, will actually have some meaning to it. But I'll say, or also, and I'll say even better, and I'll leave it at that, .html. Okay, I just want the keyword to be that. Keywords file, there is a video for keywords file. I'm going to put that on here so I don't forget about it. Just to make a note about it, keywords file, okay? All right, now I'm going to put this where it goes, which is like right here on the desktop and in here in the keys, okay? All right, so there's a video that explains about the keywords. I'm going to take the focus off. Those of you who saw it, good catch. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and process. And this time, I want to upload the files. Okay. So it's actually going to take a little while because it's going to upload these things like manually. Okay. If I don't want to do it yet, I can take it off and check it first to make sure they're coming out the right way. As a matter of fact, watch this. I'm going to do this twice. Once with, once without. Okay. All right, there you go. It did 102. Okay, let's go see what they look like. And what is today's timestamp date? Because that's how it arranged this. So August 1st, 2014, you know, and you can date modify it to get the most current one up. That's it. And it's called Atlanta Plumber because I did put in a project folder name and an FTP path to it. So yeah, these other ones, these are older. I can delete them. Okay. All right, Atlanta Plumber it is. Go in, and it's got my folder structure. Okay, based on this would be the menu column, and inside that, the next things I did for my URLs plus some pages here. See, there are 4 files here. Like I said, even before generating individual pages for these. These are unique. The index, they are unique. They're not the same. And so like if I go from one folder to another, that's what I mean. This index is not the same as the other index. Okay, they're not. The index 2s might be the same. I forget whether that's the way we did it or if it was just a second one that went randomly to. I think it is the originals though. Nope, it's not. All right, so it's a new unique one. This one is not attached in any way. So they're just like extra files. There's some extra files that just are not attached, but they're there as backups. Okay, and on your server, you can do things like move them. You know, you can cut this thing and take it up and paste it on the outside in your root and rename it to the index, and it can be the index of the entire website now if you want. Okay, this could be the root, right? Because that's the folder, the main folder where everything goes. You would upload this to the root to make it all work. Okay. And inside here, also it has, like I said, it's got a master sitemap file, which has all the links to the sub sitemaps. That's a sitemap for each one of those folders. Drain cleaning sitemap, plumbing services sitemap, plumbing tools sitemap. And inside each of those, they're not live right now because we didn't upload it, right? It will not be there yet until we upload it. But inside each of these, like I said, there is a sitemap file, and that's what got linked. And inside that are just a few links that have to do with that particular section, Atlanta Plumber plumbing company slash, and they are the 3 that belong to that sitemap. Just related topics, right? That's what we called them on the website. Do you remember? When we did the domain slash project slash menu slash sitemap.html, there you have it. The related pages, the one we're on, and 2 more like it. That's cool. That's really good for sharing link juice locally. So while that folder is sharing its link juice across its own 3 pages, this folder is sharing its link juice across its 3 pages. That page, and that page. Again, this is left out of it. It's an extra file. But you can look, and those are the 3 pages that are sharing the link juice. It's very good. No orphan links, and they're all controlled tightly. And this is just the TXT version that goes with. It's not really used. You could, you just don't need to. Here's why. If I come all the way back up, aside from the master sitemap.html file, which has links to all the sub sitemaps, you think, well, what about Google Webmasters? What if I want to do a Google Webmaster sitemap? Well, you just change it in the address bar when it's on your website to .txt instead. Because there is that, and that has every page that was produced in that run. So this is 102 links right here. These are those 102 links, all of them, okay, that represent all the pages produced in here, okay? So that's cool, because this is the only sitemap, master sitemap file that you would send to Google Webmasters. So can you recognize what the link would have to be? Let's think about it. The link would have to be what? http:// and you might think, well, you might think Atlanta-plumber.findlocally.com/ and then you would say, well, that's it, master-sitemap.txt. And online it's so much easier just to grab the link. But then you say, okay, but if I go to Google, it's showing me this. And it wants me to fill this in. You think, well, what about this part? And the answer is, aha, think about it, because that's where that would be. See, the one equals the other, right? that is where that is. All that a subdomain is like a using a name dial, just a shortcut way of typing your way to the folder, so to speak. You know, as far as that goes. Okay, but there you go. They're the same thing. This does equal, right, the other file here. These are identical files. It's the same file that will come up both times. So when you got to go to Google Webmasters, just put in your subdomain slash master-sitemap.txt. And then what? The next time you ever do a run, say you do a new run, and this time it's for someone else, okay, like a Chicago plumber, okay? Okay, and that, of course, is going to equal, you know, weeps, gotta undo, okay. That's going to equal, oh, come now. All right, and so you would only need to submit this one, okay? That's good. We aren't submitting. You guys understand that there's going to be a main an UBE master sitemap, the one that controls all the master sitemaps, and that's in the root. It would be MOWG-sitemap.html. And that is where all the links to all your master sitemaps will go. Okay? They all go here. Okay? And some people say, isn't this a footprint or something? And they're just saying it. They don't even know what they mean. Google does not consider the name of a sitemap a footprint of anything. It's too generic. And so don't worry about it. It's never been an issue. 5.5 years, it's never been an issue. So this doesn't mean anything at all. Can you rename the sitemap? Yeah, but that's more advanced. I'm going to charge you to explain it to you. Or I'll just do that video on my own sweet time, because it's not important to me that you rename the sitemap. Because I've had other people say, isn't it true that if I want to sell to clients and white label, that they come and they notice things like this and they contact you? I'll tell you what, if someone can discern MOWG-sitemap.html and figure out who we are at MOWG-crew.com, I'll be amazed. I've yet to see it happen. I actually had a guy tell me he did it, and then I found out later, no, he didn't. He just said it because he could imagine that it could be done. The reality check is people never do that. I've never seen somebody recognize a company by the name of a sitemap just like that. Never seen it. By the way, why do we call it MOWG-sitemap.html? Why didn't we just call it sitemap.html? Have you thought about it? Because the answer should be pretty clear. If people go uploading these MOWG runs on websites that they already have, we could go overwriting their sitemap. We don't want to overwrite their sitemap. That's a problem. We might break something they had. So when we started, we were looking on Google literally for exactly, you know, like all in URL, MOWG sitemap.html, just to see if we could find one, and there were none. Because there were none, we knew we were safe to use it. There wasn't a single one on Google. Okay? And that meant no one does that. Okay? So that works. All right, so that's why we did it. Anyway, this is the link we have to have on your main page, the main page of your website. And by that, I don't mean on the subdomain. This is a subdomain. I mean, if we break that off and go to the main page, okay, no matter what the main page is, I don't care if it's the same project or not, this is the top level domain on Google. Somewhere, you have to be able to get to every link on the entire website from this page. Some people, you know, we got to explain it over and over before they grasp it. But that's reality, okay? You have to, right? So there has to be somewhere on this page, somehow, it's either on this page or a page that you can click to from this page. There must be a link called sitemap or something, but there has to be a link that takes you to the MOWG sitemap. This one does. It has a link that takes me to MOWG sitemap, okay? And then everything from that point forward has got to be placed on it when I run MOWG Pro, okay? It will create new links for new sitemaps. And by the way, if I click on any of these, again, guess what it's doing? You can see it. Domain, project, you know, so this, and that's the project, and this is the master sitemap.html. I can turn any master-sitemap into master-sitemap.txt, and oh, that's because I had two dots. Whoops, hold on. And there you have it. This, therefore, is what I would submit to Google Webmasters in order for them to index it. By the way, that begs the next question. Do you have to do this all the time, submitting to Google Webmasters? No, no, you don't. You have to submit one sitemap one time to Google Webmasters. That way they know your website exists and they realize that you have some new pages on it now. Okay? Once you do that, then just every time you put up new runs, you don't have to go to Google Webmasters and submit them at all. You can just put up the run. Matter of fact, you can have a batch file run your projects for you and you don't even have to be home. So you can make all your websites larger on complete full automatic, hands-off automatic, without even being involved. Okay? And that's a trip. Okay? Now, well, there you go. There's the whole project. Now, what could I do? I could do anything. I could take this and zip it. WinZip, add, and it's a zip file. And then now that I have that zip file right there, it's not even a big one because it's all just text files, really. I can upload that to my website, right? So if you have FTP, okay, you can connect to that website. Where was it again? It was Find Locally, right? So I could connect to it and I could just straight upload that project and then go on File Manager and extract it, right? Like if I do this right now and just start counting. I mean, it's up to your computer speed, but look at this. Less than 10 seconds, all those pages are up there. Now the trick would be to extract them. I cannot just extract them here. I would have to go in the File Manager to do that. So those of you who've never seen that before, let me just get you in there and show. All right, this is a typical cPanel, the inside of it. When you log into the back end of your website, it's going to look like that, right? So, of course, a few things. One is subdomains. This is where you would add subdomains on. Like if I wanted to do that, Atlanta Plumber, I have to do it. Forget about that. I'll leave that for another lesson because I already recorded it. Okay, but you just can go in your file manager, right? Just go to the web root or someplace, a home directory. Choose where you want to go. You can show or don't show hidden files depending on your preferences. And this is for .htaccess files. You need to see them sometimes, but not right now. Okay, I'm just going to go into your public HTML folder. See, there is such a thing. And that's where all the pages go. Now, what do I have in here? Atlanta-plumber.zip. And if I look at the date and time, it's today, 2 minutes ago. That's got to be the one. 1.26 meg, sure, that's got to be the one. So I am going to extract it and then just, yep, extract it right here into the public HTML folder. And it'll be, because that's what I zipped, right, the whole folder. So it'll be that, let me reload. Atlanta Plumber, Atlanta-Plumber, right? And so there I would go. The whole thing's up. I'm done. Now that's one way to do it. That's doing it manually, right? As you'll see, we didn't use the FTP method on MOWG Pro. If we were going to use the FTP method on MOWG Pro, then it'll upload the pages one at a time. It won't zip them or anything. And what that means is it'll just be a whole lot it'll be a whole lot slower. But you don't have to be around your computer. You can just let it do it. And you can be completely gone. So I'm going to leave my MOWG Pro runs for a minute. Okay. By the way, this temp, you don't even need the temp. Delete. Okay. You won't see a temp, probably, unless you've been using some of our other products from before. Or, well, earlier versions like the 2MOWG HP. All right, let me do this. If I want to upload, okay, I'm going to upload it. Go here and just process. And here's what's going to happen. Okay, I can close this other thing. I'm just going to let this work. And it got done. And now it's uploading. Physically in front of my face, uploading. Much slower, right? But guess what? I can walk away. It's not zipping. And what's that mean? That means I don't have to go log in and unzip anything. This is fine. If this happens at 2 a.m. while I'm sleeping, as long as the subdomain is set up properly, because I ran this like a subdomain run, then I don't have to think about it at all. As long as Google's seen at least one sitemap, they know the pages are there, and I got my link to my MOWG sitemap on the main page of my site, then the pages will get aggregated in. Google's bots will find them. There will be more pages indexed and everything all over Google. And I had to do nothing. I could just sleep and let it happen. Okay. You know what's even better than that? If you understand the batch file end of MOWG Pro, you don't even have to open this thing and click next and hit process anymore. You can just hit a single button, just double click it, and it'll run this for you. Not only that, but you can actually have that button, it's a batch file, .bat file, run by your computer's task manager. So if you don't know, there is such a thing as a task manager, and you can run processes with your task manager, and you can have it run that batch file and a different batch file for a different project and a different batch file for a different project and stuff. And it will run those on complete automatic on the schedule you set. So you can say, run it every other Wednesday night except in February. I mean, you can really do that. It'll show you the box and you can go through the repeating patterns. Run it every how often, daily, weekly, monthly, that kind of thing. Except when. And it's got simple rules like first week of the month, last week of the month, and then it says on what days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you can actually set all these things up. And so when you set things like that up and you have it run a batch file, have it run another one, and you can set rules like what happens if it fails to run it this week? Does it run both of them next time, or does it just simply run it next time once? You say run it next time once. You don't need it to go too fast or once. If you missed a week, you missed a week. You can even have it wake your computer to perform the task, and then when it's done, put your computer back to sleep or leave it up. So you could set it to start at like 5 in the morning. It'll wake your computer, run the task, and leave your computer on for you to walk downstairs or walk over to it and sit down and do something. You get it? So that's how completely cool this is. Can you run unlimited projects like this on unlimited websites with unlimited variations, where you just line up copies of your profile for different websites and with different things turned on or off and different var sheets so that you have little twists to them? Absolutely. And absolutely unlimited. And this is why MOWG is so flexible, because it's a developer tool. You can take it as far as you want. There are guys who are doing this on their own websites. There are guys doing this for other clients. There are guys who do runs cheap and put them on their own hosting accounts. Then there are guys who do these runs and put them on their clients' hosting accounts. There we go. 304 pages were uploaded. Remember, not all of them were connected. There's like probably a good 70 or 80 pages that are those index2.html and also sitemap.txt. They're not connected either. You use them for Google Webmasters, but they're not considered part of your files that are actually up. Google doesn't count them as being files on your website to index. Okay, there we go. So there's that. Now, can I save this? I should be able to save it. And okay. If you get this, by the way, sometimes this will happen. You'll go to save it, and it'll say something like, "Profile file is currently open. Please close the profile file before proceeding." That doesn't make any sense. Do this instead. Okay, that's an oddity. Hit save as. Stick it in here. Give it a name. I don't care. Bob-Plumber, or find locally plumbing, right? Or Atlanta Plumber, right? Atlanta-Plumber dash or underscore, because now I want to separate a concept. Find dash locally. Okay, for that website. Do not put spaces in the names, right? Do not put capital letters in the names. Just keep it simple. Word dash word underscore word dash word. I can understand it. That's the project. That's the website. That's going to be my rule. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, just a way to keep track of things. Okay. I can close it now. I should be able to, and not just that, just after you save it like that, you should just load it and see if it'll load. And it can't because I didn't finish it. Okay. So it really wants me to do something else. I got to do one more thing, and that's this. I have to go to FTP here. There's one more thing you have to do to finish this off. And it kind of drives you nuts. This we put in here so you can upload related stuff. You can have it every time it uploads, it can upload something on the side. Okay. Well, we could upload like a folder full of images and CSS files. Okay. So that's awesome. Okay, that allows you to do that. Well, if I don't want to do that, I'll just want to upload something as filler. Upload some single file. Okay, that way it's just a short, sweet upload. I could put like base.html. It won't connect to anything. Okay, I'm not going to have it upload itself. But there you go. And then I'll just have it go right into the root. I don't have to. Uh, Matter of fact, I don't have to at all. It could go into that Atlanta Plumber path. Okay. Remember, on FTP, you never use subdomains in the front. It doesn't make sense. FTP's got to connect from the top down. FTP starts with the website, goes into the like public HTML folder if you're using HostMonster or whatever else it would be, www, home, web, website. It's just every host has different rules for how their folder structures work. Okay, and then if you had an add-on folder, that would be here. Okay, and then you have your project. Okay. Well, you just got to make your domain name match what the FTP file path should be. They need to match, right? But if you do that, it's going to use the same username and password. I could even hit this once to just test it, upload it, and it's done. It uploaded that one file, okay? Now, if I don't want to do a single file, I could do a whole folder. I could click on this thing here and put in a folder if I don't check the box and upload a whole folder with, like I said, images and CSS, and that would either go in here if you need it in there for that project, or in the root if you need it in the root for that project. By the way, you could have the slash on or off. I usually keep it off just for simplicity and teach people don't have trailing stuff if there's no need for it. Okay, that's just good habit. Okay, I mean, it'll work either way, and if the file was already there, it just overwrites it. Perfect. That way, if you go changing an image or a CSS file, then when you upload this thing, it'll overwrite. And here's the point. You don't have to manually upload it. Let's come back. Okay. Let's hit next. And let's say auto upload the related files from the FTP section. And that's exactly what it's doing. Okay. It's also got the note maximum of 15 vars are allowed to be selected. That's here. And then if you just want to make sure you didn't screw up your vars because you thought you did something on the side with them, hit refresh vars. Okay. And it just did. I mean, you didn't see it, but if I had like a missing var, sometimes it won't show me unless I hit refresh vars. Then it double checks. Then it sees that there's a mismatch and gives me an error. Now let's try this. I can try to save. Okay. It does, and I think it did save. Okay. But if I want, I could save as. Okay. Yes, replace it. If I want, I could see if it'll load now. Okay. And it does. Okay. So if something that would keep it from loading would be if this was not checkmarked, right? Then if you try to save it or save it and load it and stuff, it's broken. And so always remember, at least put a keyword up here on menu, because that's a good one. That's what you're intentionally using for your keyword, just the one even. So just checkmark at least that, the top one for the menu, and you're golden. Take the focus off the box, okay? Also make sure there's something here. If you did not put anything here, then it will be an error, okay? But you should be able to turn this off now, save. You don't need to always auto upload. That's the idea. Wow, it's good to go. But it's okay if you have it on, especially for something so small. That way you just always upload the latest CSS file and images and override them if they were there. And you're intentionally trying to override them with the new image, new CSS style, whatever it was that was in that folder. Okay. So again, it's a developer's tool. There are guys out there who are selling MOWG runs for $60,000 who start them on 100 domains or 150 on separate hosting accounts. Hosting already costs $11,500 just for that. Okay. And then the time to organize it all, get the passwords lined up, get the usernames lined up, for all the paths lined up, create all the profiles for everything. There are guys who create batch files that create variations of the MOWG profile, and we did that with the profile creator. Okay, there, I just saved that. The profile creator is another thing you're absolutely going to want to, learn about if you want to get bigger and do bigger things. Okay, I've pretty much explained the majority of this. The last thing I need to do, keywords file, there's a video for that. I'll point that out. Okay. I explained everything here, and the last thing I want to do is point out a tool called BSC, the BSC tool. This is for creating subdomains automatically. Again, if you're doing big runs and you're selling them for thousands of dollars, then you may want to create like 100 subdomains to put pages in. Okay. they're stronger. Like I said, they show up better on Google. It's a healthier thing to do. Okay, so if you want to do big projects where you just do like 3 or 4 or 5 pages per subdomain, that's all. Perfectly little laser targeted runs. And then you do one subdomain by the next, by the next, by the next. The only thing that'll drive you nuts about that is creating the subdomains manually. This is why we invented something called the bulk subdomain creator.com. Okay, the bulk subdomain creator has a video down here, and so I shall let you watch the video and understand what it's for. Absolutely, absolutely awesome. This has an affiliate system attached to it. Once you buy, you can offer it. Okay, same thing with T2H. Okay, it has an affiliate system attached to it. Once you buy it, you can offer it. You can make money offering it. You can make money offering both of these things. Okay, really, really cool. All right. Okay, enough said. I am going to wrap up the series and put this up, and then put the links to all these videos in the right order in these side videos here for further reading, research if you need it. And I'm going to make this thing available. Can you believe that this is this far along now, I guess? Maybe you can believe it, you know? Maybe you just came here last week. But what it means is we can organize so much of the training now and keep it simple, and you'll see how it goes. Matter of fact, let me just give you a hint how easy it is to do the batch file. I successfully created this, right? That's my profile. If I click it to load it, it doesn't quite load, okay? I have to hit the load button still because, see, it's all blank, right? It just opened the MOWG Pro interface. You can do that. Anywhere you can find a PFL file, you can click it to load the MOWG Pro interface. By the way, I haven't done the installation instructions yet. One of them, and I just want to say it now in case I forget, when you first download this thing, it probably does not know what to open the program with, okay? So it'll probably be set for something like that, or command shell, and you'll go to open it and it just opens like this, and you'll think, what the heck, and you can't get it to work. Okay, so you think, what do I do about that? Here's the answer. Right click, properties, change to open it with, and it should be MOWG Pro. If you don't see it, draw. Okay, come on down. Yeah, sorry, you still don't see it, then browse, and that's what I wanted to say. It's either in the program files, or if you have program files 86, it's probably in there, program files 86, but you can scroll down and find MOWG, the folder inside there, okay, is the MOWG Professional folder. Inside there is the executable that you need, and that's the one that you're trying to open it with, okay, just like that. All right, boom. And that'll allow you to run that. Okay, so when you open it, again, like I said, it opens a blank, hit load, and then hit that. Make sure you got the right one, right? Like when you hit load, make sure you're in the folder you wanted, because this remembers the last folder it was in. Okay, so if these have generic names, you could be opening the wrong one, so just take a good look at it. Okay, now how in the world do we do the batch file for this thing, right? Boom. And I could save it as other things. I could like make copies of it actually. Here's a cool thing, just in case you hadn't thought about it. If I were to do this now, I could say Atlanta Plumber, and then I could say Atlanta Plumbing right now. Boom. Atlanta Plumbing. Okay. And therefore I should probably change it here to Atlanta Plumbing, unless I'm not using that. Okay. And then I'm going to save it as. And this is not going to be this anymore. So I'm not going to replace it, but the reason I clicked on it anyway was to get it to fill in here. It was just a nifty trick. There, Atlanta Plumbing. And guess what? Now I've got a separate one. I can create the pages in there, and that's going to be different. I want to create that second subdomain though, and that's where the bulk subdomain creator will make easy, so you don't have to do those manually. But there you have it. Now you've got two. Okay. How do you do batch files? Watch this. New text file. In the text file, I'm going to rename it, called like run. You could even give it like a ZZ or something, so it shows up at the bottom of the list alphabetically, and or even a number, 1 dash, anything you want. And I'm going to say, you know, Atlanta Plumber. Heck, I should just copy the name, huh? Find dash locally. Boom. All right. There's that one. Now I'm going to do a new second one maybe. I don't have to. I could just run them both. Got it. That's what I want to show you. Run these. Okay. Run these, and that'll be for the ones you have in this folder. This is just how you're going to organize it. Now watch how I do this. When I open this, I need two things in double quotes. Double quotes just mean keep everything in here together. This should be together, except that because of the spaces, programming will not know that this is supposed to be together unless you put double quotes around it to force it to be together. You get that idea? Well, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my C drive, and I'm going to say run MOWG. That's really what we're going to do. We're going to make this text file into a batch file, which makes these command lines. Not that, though. But we're going to say, in our command line, run MOWG. So we have to go find it. MOWG Pro. Boom. And if you right-click the file and hit Properties, you know what it gives you? A security tab. Guess what that gives you? An object name. I can just highlight the whole object name perfectly. Control C. Bap and bap. Boom. Okay. There it is. There's the path that I want to run. And then a space, because now I have to add attributes. Run it. Sure, very well, run it. But if it does that, what's it going to be like? It's going to be like this. That's useless. So we want to run it on auto. Whoops, auto. Space again. That means very well run it in the background. Don't open it, run it in the background. What are we going to run? Inside double quotes. We're going to put the actual profile path, right? I'll show you in a second. It's profile path. And then in double quotes, we get the path to the exact profile. Guess what that's going to mean? Right click, properties, security, grab the object name, and there we have it. There it is. Get it? Now if you did all that right, then this is together in double quotes, then a space, then the word auto, then a space, then profile path colon, and it just goes right into it. No space here. And what do you have in between the double quotes? The exact path. Now if we did that right, save, guess what it can do? Rename, change .txt to .bat. Okay, if you can't see those file extensions, you can't change them until you do. So hit Organize, Folder and Search Options, View, and then here, do not hide extensions for known file types. That's what you have set by default. You can't see any of the extensions. I can't just add an extension, .txt, for instance. It doesn't change the file the way it's supposed to. Let me see it, and I'll see why. Do not hide the extensions for known file types. Aha! The .txt I put in was just part of the name, but the real file type is the one at the end, right? Whoops. Rename. Okay. Boom. So you have to be able to see the file types to edit them. Now, if I run that, guess what? It's running. I'm just going to shut it down. I don't mean to run it. But guess what I can do immediately after that one's done? I can run the next one on the next line. Okay. And normally it won't be that big. Okay. The font, like scrolling over like that, you know, it'll be down around normal size font, right? I just have it big so you can see what's going on. But what am I going to do with the second one? Here, let me make it a little bigger again so you can see it. Okay. Like there. Every time I try to find one that doesn't quite word wrap. 24. Oh, for crying out loud. Fine. 22. Let's go with like 20 and just see. Okay, good. Take a look. The second one is almost the exact same thing. It's C, users, owner, desktop plumber, except not, we don't want it to be that one again. We want it to be this other one. So now I can just like rename that, Control C. Realize it didn't catch the extension, so I got to be just mindful of that. Make sure you get it right. Don't have any spaces, you'll break it. No spaces, okay? No spaces over here either, okay? You don't want to break it. Get all the spaces and stuff out. But don't misspell it. You have to get it right. All right, and if you do, then guess what? It's going to run the first one, then run the second one. Okay? That is a push button that will run first this. When that's done, it'll run that. Can you believe it? Now this is what you have your task scheduler run. And when your task scheduler runs that, okay, then it does all of that while you're sleeping. Get it? That's the coolness of it. All right, guys, I hope you found that really, really crazy, wild, interesting, and amazing, and you can do this stuff now like you never thought you could do it before. So you can see what's going on. Anytime you want to go and get started, what do? Go to website, marketing, solutions, okay, .com, okay, hit strong tools and look at the options that are there on the page, because those are the ones that'll allow you to get what you need and do what you need. Okay, we are from this point forward going to be talking about MOWG with theme to HTML as being the standard for people. Okay, that's the one that allows us to train easily and know what you're doing, minimize the questions about HTML coding. Of course, you can still use MOWG to custom code website, your own websites, and do whatever you want with it. It's up to you. Okay, but there you have it. The power is crazy, and your ability to put out just perfect laser targeted websites, not big and spammy, but the right size and cover the gamut. 1 page per keyword, 2 pages per keyword, maybe, whatever you want. You can do that, and that'll be awesome. And that is just quality work for individual clients. Okay. All right. And if you're on the MOWG side of the house, just continue that way, MOWG-crew.com. Okay. And come down here, and when it says do it yourself, own MOWG, click that link. Okay, we can do it for you too. We can do your work for you. And now we're doing it all on theme to HTML, just so you know. And when we do your work on theme to HTML, it will be done on the production line, the theme to HTML production line. It will take 22 people to do your work, actually. There's going to be a total of 24 involved in making sure it happens properly. And everyone works in teams of 2, so there actually has to be a unanimous decision to pass the logo. It takes 2 people to agree on the logo before it can be approved. It takes 2 people to agree on the image choices before it can be approved. It takes 2 people to agree on each step, the content, before it can be approved. Okay, that's why these runs are serious. 2 people to agree on the SEO before it gets approved. You get it? All right, so that's how important these runs are. They're huge and powerful and crazy and great and everything. And if you get one of those, it comes with the software. And so if you do that, you also get the software, and you get to model anything you want to do in the future off of your run. So this is like really seriously powerful stuff. No joke stuff. Very big deal. All right. I hope you enjoy that. And for guys who are building a website for a whole affiliate industry, and you can spin off, you can export copies of your website for affiliates and whip out runs for them. That's simple. Cool little strategy stuff like that will become really natural very fast. You'll be making versions of the profile that do basically the same job, but it'll use different logon information for different websites. So it's going to put a bunch of pages on one website, a bunch of pages on the other. So once you get the T2H project set up on those 2 websites, you can create the backup MOWG runs for those 2 websites. See? Just go change the URL information. Different website, different project name, different user, different password. Hit go again. So it will create unique pages on that website, just like it created unique pages on the first website. Okay, it's not going to just duplicate the project. It'll all be unique. Okay, so there you go. That's a way to just keep growing like crazy. You can do it for as many domains as you want, as many websites as you want, as many projects as you want. All right, I hope you found that interesting. I think it will. Get in, get going, and keep up with us. You can get on the production line when you can do some work for us. We're gonna have more options, and we just have a lot for you. So enjoy it. Okay, I hope you found this good, and yeah, I can't wait to see you on the other side.